or resting. Here today I came out and I was trying to do a little research and development on some winter shelters that I can heat. This one here is made of 2 8x10 tarps and 2 pieces of 10x10 plastic or visqueen. I also made a little stove. I've learned quite a few lessons on that. But take a look over here. This isn't rocket science. Alright, all I did was lash a pole onto that tree, make a bipod, put the ridge pole across, drove some stakes in the ground, and tied everything off, and then just kind of tucked the tarps in for right now. I'll open this up inside here. Alright, that little stove right there is made out of a Coleman fuel can, and then I used some sheet metal and a couple of hinges and some steel pop rivets to finish it out. I'm not real happy with it. This is one of the things I've been toying with. I think I'm going to use a piece of 6-inch stovepipe and a couple of end caps. For this size of shelter, as you can see, it's a pretty big shelter. Big enough for at least 2 people in gear, and if you had to, you could get 3 in it. But that's one of the things I want to do. Also, I use that aluminum flashing for a stovepipe, and you can see how it changed colors. Well, that's because there's a coating on it that I did not know about, and it really stunk it up and battered, probably pretty bad for you. So stay tuned on what I'm going to do as far as that goes.
It's going to be my Hobo Oven, and I have a 10-pound can here, and I've got some potatoes in it. It's built a fire. It's a little bit breezy, so I've surrounded it with buckets to break the wind a little bit. But this is a good day for me to try this because it's really cold out, and there's frost all over the ground, a little bit of dusting of snow, so we're going to let this fire burn down to coals, then we're going to bank it around this Hobo Oven inside and cook these potatoes. I talk about this in my book Journey North in a post-drama, and our heroine is Carla, and she's using a Hobo Oven on her way north. She has to cook her potatoes because they're just too heavy to carry on a trail. So we've got this can, and I've kind of set it on the fire because it's a little breezy out, and that helps keep the flames a little more under control. So, and one thing Carla noticed was that the potatoes would burn on the bottom, so every once in a while I kind of just use my glove and rotate it. Now you can see I got ice on the buckets. That's telling you how cold it is. But you can see that the oven eventually gets pretty much surrounded by wood, sitting in a bed of coals. And this Hobo Oven is just a tin can, and it could be any size. But the Hobo would use a can instead of aluminum foil. And our Carla, she uses her hiking pole for a poking stick. And keep the thing with enough air in it. And just a baked potato will take you about an hour in a regular oven. So it's not going to be any less time in this unless I would cut it up small.
Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Friday, January 20th, 2012, and I'm Darko. My website is ggnonline.com. It's ggnonline.com. And on YouTube, it's ddarko2012. All the headlines and links for these that I cover here will be in YouTube's video description. Okay, so I'm just going to just post this up here so you can go check it out. The Doom and Bloom Survival Medicine Handbook. I guess it just came out. I've got some information from this website before, and one of them is a nurse practitioner and the other is a doctor. The Survival Medicine Handbook. It says, keep your loved ones healthy in every disaster from wildfires, to complete societal collapse. And it goes through all the things like likely medical issues you will face, medical skills you will want to learn, medical supplies, the physical exam, essential oils, and all sorts of stuff. So you can go there and check that out. But it's mostly medical based information, and that's the website right there. And this is ofthefield.com. This is where I'll get some information here probably a little later in the video, but it's a good book, and there's little playing cards that come with it and everything, so you can identify some stuff, because it can be kind of intimidating to just go out there and expect to find stuff. So, all right, this article I have from naturalnews.com was just posted yesterday, Wild Edible Plants and Natural Solutions for Diabetes. So you can store up on all that canned food and stuff like that, but eventually you're going to run out. I mentioned this in the last video, so this is the solution. You're going to have to be like in that one movie, The Way Back, with Ed Harris and Colin Farrell, and there's a few other actors in there when they were escaping Russian gulag in Siberia during World War II. And one of the characters was this Polish guy. I guess he grew up in the mountains and knew how to survive off the land, and he chewed on bark. So while he was in while everybody else was getting this night blindness because they were being malnutrition, they weren't getting fed anything, he was actually fine, and he was actually the leader that let him out of there because, well, he was chewing on bark. As they were chopping wood, he would take little chips and start eating and chewing on it. They actually used the bark too for like a little ski mask to block out the snow and the blizzard type stuff. So why should you care about wild edibles? Because many health experts agree that wild edibles are the highest quality, best foods available. And they actually had a show here, Wild Edibles, The Miracle of Greens, with a special guest. And you can go in there and check that out. But I just wanted to post this briefly, so it's just another source for you to find some information. Okay, up next we have this, the SAS Survival Manual. And is it news, hardcore news? No, but you know, this is my channel, so this is what I'm gonna do today. So it says here, after having solved the problems of finding water, shelter, and animal food, you will have to consider the use of plants you can eat in a survival situation. You should always be on the lookout for familiar wild foods and live off the land whenever possible. You must not count on being able to go for days without food, as some sources would suggest. It says here, even in the most static survival situation, maintaining health through a complete and nutritious diet is essential to maintaining strength and peace of mind. Of course, this is British Special Forces, so just like in that Natural News article, they said, you know, you don't want to eat the wrong plant, so you must learn as much as possible beforehand about the flora in the region. So as far as the edibility goes, there's actually a test. I'm reading out of page 69 of my SAS Survival Guide, the little pocket book. And the first step is to inspect it. Try to identify, ensure the plant is not slimy or worm-eaten, and don't risk old, withered plants. The next is smell. It says here, crush a small portion. If it smells of bitter almonds or peaches, discard it. So inspect smell. And then the next step, the third one, is skin irritation. Squeeze some juice or rub slightly on tender skin, e.g. under the upper arm. If discomfort, rash, or swelling is experienced, discard it. The fourth step is lips, mouth, tongue. If there's no irritation so far, proceed to the following stages, waiting 15 seconds between each to check that there's no reaction. And Linda Runyon, she'll say like 5 minutes, so it's up to you how much you want to risk in a survival situation. But it says here, place a small portion on the lips, then in the corner of the mouth, you know, of course, waiting with little periods of 5 seconds to 5 minutes, whatever you want. Place a small portion on the tip of the tongue, so lips, mouth, tongue. Then place a small portion under the tongue. Then chew on a small portion. In all cases, if discomfort is felt, i.e. soreness to the throat, irritation, stinging, or burning, discard it. Next step, and that would be the fifth step, is swallow. Ingest a small amount and wait 5 hours. During this time, drink or eat nothing else. So you can isolate whether it's poisonous or toxic or not. It says here, eating, and that's the last step. The sixth one is if no reactions, e.g. soreness to mouth, repeated belching, nausea, stomach, or abdominal pains are experienced, plant may be considered safe. So what do you do if you do ingest something that's not good, right? It says here, should stomach trouble occur, drink plenty of hot water. It says here, do not eat again until the pain goes. It says here, if it is severe, induce vomiting by tickling the back of the throat. Swallowing some charcoal will also induce vomiting. That's interesting. When I read that for the first time, swallowing some charcoal, probably from your fire, and that will induce vomiting and may absorb the poison at the same time. Whitewood ash mixed to a paste with water will relieve stomach pain. So when looking for wild edible food, where do you want to avoid looking first? It says, remember the following when collecting wild plants for food. Plants growing near homes and occupied buildings or along roadsides, that's an important one, roadsides, may have been sprayed with pesticides. Well, they're spraying us with pesticides called aerosols, or some people call them chemtrails. So they're all, that's my little thing out there as far as where am I going to bug out to? I don't think there's anywhere to bug out. And it's like, where am I going to find food that doesn't have pesticides? Well, it all has pesticides because they're being sprayed. So, just take your pick here, guys. You know what I mean? You're in a survival situation. You can't be that freaking picky. That's my philosophy. Wash them thoroughly. In more highly developed countries with that many automobiles, avoid roadside plants if possible due to contamination. So you may find plants that are growing in contaminated water, and if you do find that, you can boil or disinfect them so you can still eat them. It says here, some plants develop extremely dangerous fungal toxins to lessen the chance of accidental poisoning. Do not eat any of the fruit that is starting to spoil or showing signs of mildew and fungus. And I noticed that a lot in the SAS book. You should go through here and check this out. I'll post the link. In case you're sensitive to gastric distress from plants, you should avoid wild plants altogether. But it says here some, such as acorns and lily rhizomes, are bitter. The bitter substances usually contain tannin compounds. It says here boiling them will help. Also, many valuable plants have high concentrations of something called oxalic compounds, also known as oxalic acid. It says here they produce a sharp burning sensation in your mouth, throat, and damage the kidneys. So you can bake, roast, or dry, and that usually destroys these crystals. Also, mushrooms. Do not eat mushrooms in a survival situation. The only way to tell if a mushroom is edible is by positive identification. So they actually have a different type of edibility test. It's more thorough, obviously, because it's the whole manual. But you can go in there and check that out. There's a little some important things in there where it says that you don't want to eat 8 hours before starting to test, obviously. So you can see if it's poisonous or not. It says separate the plants into basic components: leaves, stems, roots, buds, flowers. Smell the food for strong or acid odors. Remember that smell alone doesn't indicate a plant is edible or inedible. So a plant I'm going to cover in this video for today is burdock. It goes by the other names of beggars, buttons, or burrs. It's native to Europe and Asia, widely naturalized in North America. It says that its habitat is field, roads, and most waste areas, which it's right near a road right there in that picture. Also, for primary uses, it has culinary medicinal uses. The roots are boiled, i.e. burdock root. It says here dried in powder for nutrient additives. It says here that early leaves are eaten raw, steamed, boiled, sautéed, and cooking liquid drunk. The nutritional value of the burdock is high in vegetable protein, contains inulin, the chemical source of insulin. Medicinal value is tea used to heal infections. Root is a diaphoretic. I'm sorry if I mispronounce this. It says here as a wash infusion for poultice, bruises, sore or tired feet. Cosmetic value, seeds for skin problems, eczema, cleansing, for pets' fleas. You can simmer a small handful of brown burrs, strain, cool, and wash your pets with the decoction. It kills fleas quickly, so there you go. Collection and storage: when you can, harvest the young roots before the flower stalks develop, which is usually the second year. So just something to think about. It says here that you can gather the burdock in any season, and she goes on and said that the giant burdock leaf forms its own carrier. So I guess you can take these little burrs and put them on the leaf and roll the leaf and tuck it in the ends and then put the leaf in your pocket. And next time I'll try to cover cattails, which are pretty common here in North America. Pine needle tea, someone posted this, says there's actually warning and precautions, of course, that you want to take notice of. If you are pregnant, do not try the pine needles tea. It says it could cause a miscarriage, and don't try for nursing either. Just quickly here, collect a couple handfuls of pine needles, choose younger, softer needles, and discard the dried brown ones. Number 2, wash the pine needles thoroughly to remove dust and insects. The third step is to set some water to boil and place the pine needles in the boiling water. Boil for 5 minutes. Number 4, drain the tea into a cup and let cool. And a lot of people may not be too big on this because it has this mild bitter aftertaste, but it's really, really high in vitamin C, and it's usually plentiful. So the bark can be used as an emergency food. The roots can be eaten raw and steeped for tea. The sap also has medicinal application for small cuts, scrapes, and blisters. So we talked about the vitamin C, but in the taste, and you can actually put in honey if you have that, and that'll help with the taste. But lastly, cosmetic value: deodorant, air fresheners, soaps, lotions, and cleansing oils. That's what it can be used for. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you.